Welcome to another episode of The Voice of Viet Vegas. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with a 2020 presidential candidate, Representative Seth Moulton. He is a Marine Corps veteran, a 3-term member of Congress. Congressman Moulton joined the massive Democratic primary field for president, building himself as a young outsider with fresh idea and military experience. He is leaning heavily on his youth and military service, calling for a new generation of leadership in the White House. His presidential campaign is focused on veterans issues, voting rights, and on his national security experience to appealing to America veterans. His platform is also focused on jobs and the economy, fixing the nation's infrastructure and implementing a public options to improve access to health care. Please welcome Congressman Seth Moulton.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. I'm honored to be on the Voice of Viet Vegas, and I look forward to discussing my campaign and why I think I'm the best candidate to take on Donald Trump in the general election.
Also, we have a board of people from the Asian community. First, we have on my left, Kate Torres.
Hi, my name is Kate Torres Recto. I am a big fan of Tuan. I'm also the president of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce and has been active with the Asian American Pacific Islander community for about 20 years. So I've seen
Wonderful.
It grow.
And on the left of the congressman, we have Raja Fayez. Please say hi.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. And my name is Fayaz Raja, and I'm the chairperson for the Asian American Pacific Islander Democratic Caucus, and also the president of SAPNA, South Asian Political Alliance Network. I've been in Las Vegas for 40 years, and would love to have you. And
It's great to be back. Thank you.
And then another special guest, not from Vegas, but from Germany. Welcome, Kathy.
Yeah, hi. My name is Catherine de los Santos, and I am an expatriate. Well, I've been living in Germany for a few years now, and I am an international social worker, meaning I specialize in migration issues, and I have had intense contact with refugees. I was a guardian in a home for refugee children or youth aged 13 to 18, did that for a few years. And I'm doing my master's in international social work, which also includes a lot of public policy and a lot of, that's why I'm here. I'm doing an internship on international issues, and thank you for having me. Tuan.
Well, today it's kind of a conversations between us as the Asian from the community in Las Vegas. And we have a conversations, wanted to see that what is the congressman platform and why he threw himself into the race. So, Congressman, as I just said, if you could tell us that there's a very, very crowded set of people that running for president this time. What made you decided to put yourself into the race?
Well, I think this is going to be a tougher race than many Democrats think. I don't think Donald Trump is going to be easy to beat. And to beat him, we have to build a coalition that includes everybody in the Democratic Party, plus independent voters, those Obama-Trump voters, and even some disaffected Republicans. And the unique qualifications that I bring to this race, different from anybody else in the current field, as large as it is, is that I have built coalitions like that in the toughest circumstances before. I'm the only combat veteran in this race. I led troops in combat on the ground over 4 tours in Iraq. And my basic job as a platoon commander in the Marine Corps Infantry was to take a remarkably diverse group of Americans, people from all over this country, with different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, different political beliefs, and get them all united behind a common mission to serve America. I think that's exactly the kind of leadership that we need to win this race, and also to bring the country together enough that we can accomplish all the things that Democrats would do in 2021 after we win in 2020. I'm also bringing a unique focus to this race on issues that the other candidates are not talking about. I've founded my campaign on patriotism, on service, and on what it means to make America safe and strong abroad. I think national security is an important part of the job of the commander-in-chief. It's also a place where Donald Trump is weak, and so I'm challenging him, not just as president, but as commander-in-chief, and I'm laying out a vision for how to make America safe and strong both at home and abroad, so that we can be the leader, the moral leader that we have always been in the past throughout the world.
Well, thank you so much for the answer. And I understand that you are Iraq War veterans, and I think that with that experience in combat, you probably be able to go through and became the final nominations for the party.
Well, I'll tell you what, I do think that taking on Trump is going to be harder than many people think, but it won't be the toughest thing I've done in my life. And I think that bringing that perspective to the debate stage and going toe-to-toe with this man who's really just thrown out all the rules for politics, that's something that I feel confident I can do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Kate, maybe you have a question for
Yes.
the congressman.
Before I lash out my question, I would like to seriously thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean,
Kate.
that means a lot to all of us. My question has to do with probably one of the top issues of Asian Americans nationwide. It is immigration. Okay. I know that a lot of presidents have tried to do immigration reform to the best that they can and failed. What is it in your administration that you're going to do to make sure the immigration reform does not fail? Because our concern is just being united with our families.
Right.
I mean, it's insane when you can no longer, right now, as I was told, petition a brother or a sister or your own mother.
Well, Democrats have laid out some different visions for immigration reform, but your question is important because it's not just about vision, it's about how you're actually going to get things accomplished, right? And the record I bring from my years in Congress, I've been in Congress for 5 years, is one of getting a lot of things done. When I came to Congress, I took on an 18-year incumbent in my own party, someone who had only passed one bill in 18 years. And in my first 2 years, I held more town halls than any other Democrat, House or Senate. And I was named the most effective freshman Democrat in the Congress.
Nice.
I'm someone who has a very bipartisan record. Not because I agree with Republicans on every issue, far from it, but because I know that you have to find ways to work across the aisle in order to get things done. And that's the reality with immigration reform. We can do things by executive action that I'd be certainly more than willing to do as President of the United States. On day one, I would stop putting kids in cages. I would stop separating families. I'm not going to wait for some law to change to do that. That's something I will do by executive order on day one of my administration. But if we want to have serious immigration reform, then we have to address the larger systemic issues. And we have to do it in a bipartisan way so that we can get it passed through Congress. So here are some of the things that we need to do and ways to get Republicans on board. Number one, we have to have a pathway to citizenship for everybody who's a part of our community. And that includes dreamers, it includes people on TPS status, it includes people who are contributing to our economy, leaders in business here in America, and yet don't have all the paperwork in order. The second thing we need to do is we need to make sure that when people come to study here, we give them the opportunities to stay here. I mean, it's crazy that we have all these students coming from China, a great adversary of the United States, and yet after they learn so much in American schools, we just tell them to go back home. And that doesn't make any sense at all. We also have to make sure that people who come here seeking asylum have their cases judged right away. I don't want people waiting for months or years to see an asylum judge. I want them to get a decision immediately. Justice delayed is justice denied. Yes. And either They're determined to not have a legitimate case, and they're sent home right away. Or they're determined to have a legitimate case, and they go straight into getting a job, being part of our communities, and paying taxes like the rest of us. That should be the way that we handle these difficult asylum cases at the border. The next thing is that we have to admit we do have an immigration crisis at the border, both a humanitarian crisis with what's going on in these detention facilities that is absolutely amoral, but also the fact that we have more people coming from Central America than ever before. And we have to have a foreign policy strategy to address that. I would base my strategy on Plan Colombia, which was a very successful program that helped turn around Colombia from a narco state into an American tourist destination, and use that with Central America. Finally, we do have to recognize that border security is an issue, and this is a place where we can get Republicans on board. But building some silly concrete wall in the middle of the desert is not the way to do that. Border security means focusing on the ports of entry, where most illegal immigrants come through, and also illegal drugs come into the United States, and developing the technology, implementing the changes that we need at those ports of entry to make sure that we have an immigration system that fundamentally welcomes immigrants who want to come here, but welcomes them legally, and does not encourage people to come here illegally. I'm probably the only candidate in this entire race who's actually hosted an asylum refugee. My family hosted a refugee seeking asylum in the United States a few years ago. It was actually someone I served with in Iraq, someone who had risked his life, not only for his country, but for ours, and now his new country. He came here because it was a death sentence to stay in Iraq, and yet it was so difficult to get him through the legal paperwork. I want to make sure in the future that the legal route is expeditious. And that should be the best route. That should be what we encourage.
Yes.
And at the same time, we don't decriminalize the border like some Democrats want to do, because that just encourages people to come here illegally. And that's not the kind of immigration system that we want. So does that answer your question?
Partly, yes. I have a segue to that. You have been in the military. What do you feel about getting budget from the military to build that wall?
No, it's wrong. And it's taking away money from a national security organization, from the military. And it's telling our troops to fight some mission that is not their mission, to do something that should be a domestic priority, that's the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security, and takes the troops' focus off the major national security issues that we face around the globe. So I would not let that happen as Commander-in-Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to be back shortly. Please stay tuned.